All-Star Weekend for a number of years has been an event that most NBA fans looked forward to. You got to see some high flyers in the dunk contest, your favorite celebrities play a basketball game, some fan favorites go at it in the skills challenge, the greatest shooters in the world battle it out in the three-point contest, and most importantly, the best of the best compete all in one location. The greatest basketball players in the world, they all play in the NBA. Let's not have this conversation, Noah Lyles. They all play in one location annually. It's a huge event, obviously. I put emphasis on the word compete because I feel like that's where this event has lost its edge. There's just not enough competition here. There's not enough interest. There's not enough of a market for this event in itself. I'm not here to be a complainer or sound like an old head like, oh, the NBA used to be so much better. The kids don't care anymore. I'm 22. I come from a pretty new generation of NBA fans. Like, I've only been watching basketball for the better part of like 15 years, you know? I didn't really get to, I experienced a little bit of prime Kobe. I didn't get to experience Jordan. I didn't experience any of that stuff. I'm not going to sit here and trash the event, but like, I feel like this year there definitely were, there were some redeeming qualities. Mac McClung became the first three-peat dunk contest winner. Kai and Drewski had some moments, and an underrated part of the weekend is that we got some elite high school hoops with future stars in AJ DeBonsa, and basically the whole Link Academy squad popped out and played. That's awesome. A kid won $100K for making a half-court shot. Shout out to Mr. Beast. Kevin Hart cracked some jokes. We celebrated the legendary Inside the NBA panel, which although like in the last couple of years they've been criticized fairly for how they talk about players, still one of the greatest sports broadcasting teams ever. I'd argue the greatest ever. So there you go. I know some people are complaining about the stoppages and all that, but those weren't even the problem for me. All of the outside marketing stuff, I don't really care about. It's the events themselves, and that is what continues to be the problem. Just the events themselves, the format, how everything is set up, it's a problem. Don't go complaining about the stoppages, because guess what? Besides the playoffs, this is the most worldwide televised event in the NBA of the year, and damn it, if I was Adam Silver, I'd want my bread too. So, let's just go ahead, go through one by one each event that I had a problem with and just kind of critique it a little bit, how it could get better. Let's go. All right, the first event, we're going to start with the celebrity game. I'm going to go in order through when they happened in the weekend. The coaches were cool. Two sports legends. You get Barry Bonds and Jerry Rice going against each other. That's awesome. 2 Chainz. Cool. Kobby Lame, the motherfucker who got famous for doing this. Get the fuck out of here. That is not a celebrity. That is a trend. That is a trendy person. That is not a fucking celebrity. I don't care how many TikTok followers he has. Stupid. Okay. Also, just the rosters in general were not stacked this year, especially compared to the years where you've had guys like Justin Bieber, Chris Brown, and even more recently you've had like Quavo do it. I'm not just saying like music centric because I'm partially a music channel. I genuinely think those are like the best players we've had in the celebrity game. Kai Cenat, Baron Davis, Matt Barnes, Drewski, Terrell Owens, and Shabuzi, and that's it. Now that may seem like an impressive list, and those are some pretty cool celebrities. That's fun. They have some decent celebrities in here on the surface, but if you go back and look at some of the other years, this looks pathetic in comparison. Now, I'm not gonna like pull up other lists of celebrity games, but they were listing a bunch of celebrities. I was thinking, who the fuck is that? And that's not something I've ever really felt, doing this before. Sorry if my face is a little greasy. I got kind of sweaty. The NBA is a billion-dollar company. They should have no problem getting big celebs to play. Now, obviously, a lot of people decline and all that stuff. Get some celebs that can hoop, not just celebs that are big to sell. People know that Adam Sandler can play basketball. People know that J. Cole can play basketball. People know that Lil Dicky can play basketball. Bring back one of the names I mentioned, too. Bring back a Justin Bieber or a Chris Brown or whatever. Even when they brought a guy like Micah Parsons in, that was cool because he was an athlete from a different sport. And I like that they did that with Terrell Owens. And I even liked when they brought in Carlos Boozer, who's a former NBA player. They did that with Baron Davis. That was fun. Bring in some more football players. Like, why not? I think that worked out. How about Shador or Travis Hunter at Colorado? D-Hop hooped in college. Devontae Adams hooped back in the day. These guys all have, like, hoop mixtapes. Travis Kelce used to play. Obviously, he's a pretty big name, but, like, Travis Kelce, he played basketball in college at Cincinnati as well. Offer guys like that. It's not a huge deal, so I'm not going to spend much longer talking about it, but it's still a critique I have on All-Star Weekend. Now, for being completely honest, I didn't have much of a problem with the Rising Stars game. I think that was one of the more non-problematic events of the entire weekend because some of the problems with it are out of anyone's control. Like, no one can really control who plays, who doesn't. People get injured a lot more nowadays, which I guess doesn't make sense with the advanced medicine, but if someone can't play, they just can't play. If someone doesn't want to play, they just don't want to play. Like, maybe you give them incentive, but they make enough money already, so it doesn't really matter. It's not like we can just go back to the medical room, get the x-rays, and ensure motherfuckers are injured, so here we are with this. Also, I mean, this isn't that great of a rookie class to begin with. I guess there's kind of a complaint with that, but again, we can't really control that. You know, Jared McCain going out with an injury, the only rookie I'm truly impressed with this season is probably Stephon Castle. Now, we've seen guys like Dalton Connect, Zach Edey, Zachary Risache, Alexander Sarr, guys like that have their moments, but overall, not a great draft class, which again is completely out of our control. Also, guys like Jaime Jaquez, guys like Keontae George shouldn't even be playing in the game because I don't think either of them are rising stars anymore, you know? Both of them have proved that they can play at the high level, so I don't know why they're playing in this game. Mac McClung got to play, so that's fun, I guess. Part of me thinks that's just a damn charity cause to get him to the NBA. Now, he is one of the more talented players in the G League, that's no doubt, but get him NBA minutes. He hasn't played a lick of shit in the league, and we continue to hype him up and put him in the damn Rising Stars Challenge. I feel like there's other G Leaguers out there. Put fucking Isaiah Thomas out there. Like, are you kidding me? He just joined the G League back, and look at the numbers he's putting up. Why doesn't he get to play? What the hell? You know, talking about the G Leaguers, obviously, in general, I like J.D. Davison. Shout out to my Celtics. I like Pat Spencer, Leonard Miller, who's a My Team GOAT. If you know, you know. But the fact that Reed Shepard is a top 3 pick in the draft and he's on the G League squad lets you know all you need to know about this draft class. Once again, it just attests to how weak of a draft class it is. Thompson twins probably could have got left out of this, at least Amen, but I'm glad they were here because they needed that for this event. Montes Buzelis, another decent rookie who has shown flashes, but I don't know, man. Just look at last year's game alone. Just look at what they had. I mean, the G League team was somewhat weak, to be fair, but even then you have guys that I remember watching in college and high school, like Oscar Deshibwe, Imani Bates, guys like that. I don't know what they could do. Bring in DJ Burns. Fuck it. He's not even in the league. Bring him in to play in the Rising Stars. That would be fun. Hell, maybe even have a celebrity game where you have NBA players that aren't in the NBA right now, but or players that were in the NBA or had potential that aren't in the league right now. Put them against celebrities. That would be fun. Put Dwight Howard, DJ Burns, Taco Fall, put a bunch of those guys on the same team. That would be a lot of fun. Like, why don't we do something like that? And obviously, you know, you get Ron Holland. This year, I mean, Mac McClung was fun to watch in high school in general, and he was decent at Georgetown, but Ron Holland has actually turned into a decent player in the league. I'll give him that. But looking at the other side, I'm just using this as an example. J-Dub, Walker Kessler, Benedict Mathurin probably shouldn't have been in it at the time. Chet Holmgren, Jeremy Sohan, Derek Lively, Jordan Hawkins, Shaden Sharp. None of those guys are scrubs. None of those guys are bust. Each of them play a big role on their team. I didn't even mention Wembanyama, who didn't make it to the championship game. Do you see what I mean now with this event? Now we're going to transition into the Saturday events. The HBCU Classic, cool. High school games, cool. You got to spread the game out. Those are here to stay, and there's nothing to complain about with them. Let's just talk about All-Star Saturday night, because that's really what we're all here for. Let's just start with the Skills Challenge. What a damn disaster. This was debatably the worst event of the entire weekend. You got Moses Moody and Draymond Green. I love that they had Draymond in this event. Mobley and Donovan Mitchell, cool. The top 2 picks in Sarr and Risache, even though they aren't even the best 2 rookies in their class, would have much rather seen Castle and Edey, honestly, even though Castle was in the dunk contest. Why didn't they put the Rookie of the Year candidates on the team? I guess Sarr is a candidate. And then you have the team that everyone was hyped for. Future face of the league, who in his second year is non-negotiably prior to injury. Prayers up to him, by the way. Hopefully he can get back by the next season. He's a non-negotiably, non-debatably top 10 in the NBA. And you have a former Skills Challenge winner who is one of the most highly skilled, highly IQ'd guards we have ever seen in Chris Paul. And what do? They cheat. Maybe I shouldn't say cheat, but they try to find a loophole. The whole crowd booed them for it, and some NBA representative walks over to their seats and disqualifies them. So there goes everyone's favorite duo on the court. They don't even have a chance to win it now because they ruin it for themselves, and they do this stupid gimmick where they're just throwing the balls out of the rack. Like, what the hell am I watching? Now, the shooting isn't even that big of a part of the event. I debate that the passing is more, but what? Why would Chris Paul do this? Why are you doing this? Again, everything I talk about in this video shouldn't be a big deal, you know? It's just for fun, but when you're trying to bring new fans into this game, you can't have shit like this and other things that I have and I'm about to mention happen. You just can't. Now we have the 3-point contest. I honestly didn't have a huge problem with the 3-point contest. That 3-point contest is the 3-point contest. There's no rigging, there's no judges. If you make the most threes, if you score the highest points, it's the only like subjective, I guess, event of the entire weekend. Well, besides the games, obviously. I didn't have a problem. I mean, I like Tyler Hero. Shout out to him for winning. Damian Lillard, defending champ, goes out in the first round. There's a problem, I think. Buddy Hield is one of the greatest runs in 3-point contest history in the first round, but ends up not winning. there's that as well. Those are minor things that I can ignore to an extent, but I think the big elephant in the room that everyone's talking about with the three-point contest is we are in the Golden State. We are in San Francisco in particular, playing in the arena, not the exact arena. Obviously, they moved from Oracle to Chase, the nation's capital of three-point shooting. Do you have any idea who came through the city and changed the offensive layout of the game forever? The Splash Brothers, Clay and Steph Curry. And granted, Clay is no longer on the Warriors, but that makes it even better, honestly. For old time's sake, let them battle it out on opposite teams now. Why weren't they in the three-point contest? That's inexcusable, I think. Maybe they opted out, which is again out of Silver's control, and we already had Caitlin Clark back out because she wanted to compete in her first one in her own league. That's fair. But man, you guys got to figure out an alternative. If you're not going to have Curry, Clay, or Caitlin Clark, you're going to have to think of something. Celebrity three-point contest. Think of something. The contestants were genuinely good shooters, and I think the contestants they choose for the contest that aren't the popular players are good contestants because they're good three-point shooters. And I think that they've done a great job at including the lesser known but great three-point shooters over the years. We've gotten Isaiah Joe, very underrated three-point shooter. We know Joe Harris to be a shooter, but he's not a very popular player, so I like that they chose him in a couple of years. But if you want to sell the product, you need big names. I mean, that's all I'm saying. You at least need two big names. And obviously, again, we got Damian Lillard, but he got kicked out of the first round. So now we're left with Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, and some people don't even know who Norman Powell is, like genuinely. I know most actual NBA fans would, but if you're there as a casual fan just having a good time for the weekend, you don't know who Tyler Hero is, you don't know who Norman Powell is, and you definitely don't know who Buddy Hield is. So there's that. Now we're going to talk about the dunk contest, which again was a decent event. This was not a bad event. I don't have too many complaints about it. I wouldn't say Castle McClung had a Levine Gordon type of competition, but to an extent it felt like it, and that's great. That's a feeling we haven't had in damn near a decade. This also comes down to big names that will sell the product. This is another competition that is in between the All-Star game and other events that you need big names if you want people to be engaged. I like Buzelis as a player, but Andre Jackson Jr., a role player who has had maybe 2 or 3, albeit amazing dunks, but just those 3, and he gets into the contest. This guy's a one-hit wonder in terms of highlights. It's crazy, and we can have this complaint over years and years. This spans for a while. Just the fact that guys like Zion, Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards, LeBron, etc. haven't competed in the contest just continues to be a problem, and it has been a problem for years. Miles Bridges has never been in a dunk contest. Giannis Antetokounmpo has never been in a dunk contest. Westbrook didn't even compete in it in his prime either. I mean, these are all top tier dunkers that have never been in it, and obviously I can't just target this year's contest as this has been happening every year since the year Levine and Gordon didn't do it, but still, like all the way from there to now, it's looked pretty bleak for the dunk contest. I'm not gonna lie. And again, bring some goddamn celebrities in. Bring in Jordan Kilgannon, bring in Isaiah Rivera. He's one of the highest jumpers in the fucking world, and he even trained Mac McClung. Bring guys like that to the dunk contest. Hell, maybe even have some college players do it now that the NIL is a thing. Bring some goddamn college players. VJ Edgecombe. Bring somebody. Cooper Flagg. Have some fucking fun with it. It doesn't have to be NBA. Because, I mean, they had Sabrina going against Steph, which I know those are 2 of the NBA products. They're 2 women and men's, but you get what I mean. And I respect last year that they got Jaylen Brown to do it, even if he didn't perform so well, but where is that star power this year? There's not a single all-star on the court this year. Obviously, Mac McClung is one of the greatest dunkers of all time, so you can argue that that makes up for it. Besides Jalen, the only All-Stars I remember doing it since that amazing 2016 contest was Victor Oladipo, DeAndre Jordan, Donovan Mitchell, Dwight Howard, and I think that's it. I mean, Jalen Green is a good player now, but he was still very early in his career when he agreed to do it in 2022. I think he was in the G League in 2022. You might as well just have had Castle and McClung do it by themselves because, man, how forgettable and trash was Buzelis and Andre Jackson in this. My God, that was absolutely embarrassing. Those were some of the worst dunks I've ever seen. Those were some of the worst performances in the dunk contest I've ever seen. Pitiful. Absolutely pitiful from those 2. Now, again, the Castle and McClung battle was fun, but you need, if you want a good dunk contest, you need competition, and it only came down to 2 players. So it's like, ugh. We had the G League up next game. Who really cares about that? That's fun. I think that's a good event. I think it's a good idea for them to do it, but I'm not really here to talk about that. So let's talk about the actual All-Star game, just kind of break it down. The event everyone and their mothers have all been waiting for. That's why it's on Sunday. That's why it's the grand grand finale. It is the big spectacle of the entire weekend. I don't think this All-Star game was as bad as the ones that came before it more recently, but still, the amount of players, not only that didn't play, it's also the players that decided to back out the day of the game. I am talking about you, LeBron James. You're a role model, you're a face of the league, you're supposed to represent the product, and the day of the game, you decide to call off work. What are we doing, guys? I mean, what? You get incentives for being selected in All-Star, you wasted a roster spot. What the hell are we doing? I understand that he was feeling sore, it's a long season, I get that, but maybe announce ahead of time that you're not playing. I don't think a soreness just appears, oh, one day I'm sore, one day I'm not. I feel like you'd be sore every day. That's just me. Announce ahead of time that you're not playing so your biggest fans don't spend top dollar on nosebleed seats. I'll put up some ticket prices here for nosebleed seats just for you to not hit the court. If you would have came down with an illness, that's a different story, but some soreness, come on, man. Also, the closest game was a 7-point game on a 40-point scale, so none of the games were close or competitive, went down to the buzzer, any of that stuff, and therefore people probably turned their TVs off by the halfway mark. Also, we knew that this shit was rigged for Curry to win, even though Tatum literally outperformed him, but that's whatever. That's not a big deal to me. I just wanted to bring that up. I understand Draymond being mad about the Rising Stars competing as well. I think at this point, if you're going to have a 4-team tournament format, just either have more All-Stars or have smaller teams. Especially if you're playing to 40, I think it's a 1-sub rotation. We play rec games to fucking 16 at the rec, and we don't need a sub. So I think playing to 40 with 1 sub, I think would be just fine for prime NBA athletes. We all know that would defeat the purpose of the event if there were more All-Stars, so there you go. I'm actually not opposed to the idea of a tournament. Basketball tournaments are fun. Win or go home situations are fun. That's what makes basketball events like the NBA playoffs and March Madness so engaging for viewers. I think they should have just did 4 6-man teams of the All-Stars, because in what world should Ryan Dunn or Trace Jackson Davis be competing in an All-Star game, at least at this point in their careers, against some of the greatest NBA players ever? They're going against Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum. That doesn't make sense at all. It's not even in this. They're not even in the same ballpark. They're not even in the same echelon of NBA players. Never. This should never happen. Ever. Even putting the stoppages aside, which I understand people's gripes with, this is still an event that is very flawed, and until we see a change, until the league board finds the formula to make a successful weekend event, this sport will continue to get frowned upon, especially at the worldwide professional level, especially on the critical level. I'm also pretty skeptical on the players that made the team in the first place. We can just get into that. I mean, I probably should have made a video about people that should have or shouldn't have made the All-Star game. You're going to sit back and tell me that Darius Garland is a better player than LaMelo Ball and Trae Young. Stop it. Stop it. I'm aware Trae ended up making the game, but it took an injured Paulo for him to do so. This isn't the MVP voting. It doesn't matter what team the motherfuckers are on, guys. It's an All-Star game. It is based on individual performance. What about that do you not understand? You put Garland on the Hornets, he wouldn't be able to do what LaMelo is doing. Same thing with the Hawks. Point blank period. That's not even a debate. I know it's a hypothetical argument. It's not a debate. You put Trae or LaMelo on the Cavs for Garland, I think they're easily making the conference championship, maybe the NBA finals, and I'm sure they can do that this year. If the Cavs make the conference finals this year and lose, I think with Trae Young or LaMelo for Darius Garland, they would make the finals. I think those two replacing Garland would make the team a tier better. I'm genuinely serious. I don't know, that was supposed to be a different video, but I didn't have time to discuss the rosters. There you kind of go for that. Well, that's all I got for All-Star Weekend. I know this video is coming out late. It's a little over a week since the All-Star break. I understand, but I figured it'd be a good idea, good video, kind of just analyze and talk through some of the events and what I liked, what I didn't like. I'm not going to lie, this overall All-Star Weekend, although it wasn't great, I don't think it was as bad as the years past. It wasn't terrible. I think the Skills Challenge really killed the momentum on Saturday. We got a good dunk contest, I would say, for the NBA standards at this point. Decent Rising Star stuff. There you go. Leave a like, comment, subscribe as always. It has been your boy GZTV. I'm going to be throwing a hell of video clips in this video. It's probably going to take me a while to edit, but I'm going to get kind of going on that now. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your day, night, whenever you're watching this. I'm going to go watch some basketball while editing this. So peace out, everybody.